Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, another lesson, guys, Qudoori. Hope you guys are following the previous lessons. Let me know in the comments, inshallah, what you guys think of these lessons and what kind of lessons do you guys think I should do next. I mean, do you guys think the format of these lessons are okay, or should I change them? Put in the comments, inshallah. I like to read your comments as well. So, Babu Sifati Salati. So now we're going to be talking about salat. So sifa, it means wasafa yasifu, it means description. So sifa, ala wazni fi'latun. Fara'id is the jama' of farida, plural. Fara'id, singular. Farida. Salat, you guys should know what salat means. Sitta means 6. At-tahrima, it means to sanctify, to make something like hurma, haram, means like sanctified as well, just like it means unlawful. Qiyam is standing. Qama yaqumu. Qira'a is recitation. Ruku is bowing. Sujud is prostrating when you put your forehead on the ground. Qa'da is sitting. Al-akhira is the final, so final sitting, last sitting. Miqdar, it means the amount. So miqdar. At-tashahud, duration. Tashahud, I'm going to explain what that means later. So for now, just put a question mark. Zada yazidu is from adding. Right, to add, to increase something. Kabbara yukabbiru is to say Allahu Akbar. So here it means to say Allahu Akbar. Rafa yarfa'u means to raise. Yuhadi, it means to put parallel to make something parallel with something else. Hada yuhadi. Ibham, it means thumbs. So you got two thumbs. And then you've got, yes, that's times 2. Shahma is the soft part of your ears, this part of your ears. Yes, this part of your ears is called the shahma. Don't know what you call it. Yeah, the earlobe, maybe. Udhun is ear. Badal means substitute. Ajal is magnificent, the most magnificent. Ajal, jalala. A'zam means the greatest. And Akbar means biggest. I mean, a lot of people do say, obviously, Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest. But literally, Akbar means biggest. That's what it means. Allah is the biggest. Greatest is fine. A'zam means greatest. Ajza, yujzi, or ijza, it means to suffice. To suffice, to allow, to permit. Okay, the rest, I think you guys know this one. Okay. Tarkib now. So, Bab is mudaf. Sifa is mudaf ilayhi. And then sifa is mudaf and salat is mudaf ilayhi. All of this put together becomes the khabar of hadha, hidden. Fara'id is mudaf, salat is mudaf ilayhi, and then that becomes the mubtada, and sitta is the khabar. At-tahrima, this is now, we call the badal of sitta. Tahrima, so waw is ataf. All these are atafs. All these waws, I'll just put ayn there. Ataf. I mentioned this kind of stuff so many times. I'm sure you guys are probably thinking, we know this now, you don't have to tell us again. But I will keep on telling you guys. So anyway, so actually let me change this badal. Let's make it ma'tuf alayhi. And all the rest of these are ma'tufs. So tahrim is ma'tuf alayhi. Qiyam is ma'tuf number 1. Qira'ah number 2. Ruku number 3. Sujud ma'tuf number 4. Qa'da is ma'tuf number 5. All that put together becomes the badal. That's better. Okay, miqdar at-tashahhud. This miqdar is actually what we call naz'ul khafid. Yeah, so it's like kamiqdari, and the kaf's been removed, so you replace it with the fatha. Mudaf ilayhi. Ma zada, ma is mawsul, zada is fi'l plus the fa'il, ala is jar, dhalik is majroor. All that sila, mawsul put together becomes the mubtada. And fahuwa sunnatun becomes the khabar. So fahuwa is mubtada. Sunnatun is the khabar. Mubtada plus the khabar put together is going to become the khabar of the previous. وإذا الظرف دخل is فعل, الرجل is فاعل, في is jar, صلاته is مضاف إليه becomes مجرور, كبر is the فعل plus the فاعل, رفع is فعل plus فاعل, يديه is dual, مضاف إليه, noon's dropped off. مع is مضاف, التكبير is the مضاف إليه, حتى is the jar, يحاذي is فعل plus the fa'il. Now you see, why does the word yuhadi take a fatha? Is because hatta cannot come before fi'l mudari. So you have to have an un hidden there. That's why it's حتى أن يحاذي. So we give it nasab. Fi'l plus fa'il. Ba is jar. Ibham is mudaf and mudaf ilayhi majroor. Shahmata udhunayhi. Shahma is mudaf and udhunayhi is mudaf ilayhi. And that becomes a maful bihi. Mansoob. In is shart. Qala is the fi'l plus the fa'il. Badalan is the mutlaq. Maful mutlaq. Min is jar and that's majroor. And then the word Allah is the mubtada and the word ajallu is the khabar. Now ajallu is غير منصرف. A'zamu is ataf onto that. Right, so let's make ajallu ma'tuf alayhi. And then a'zamu, let's make that into ma'tuf. Okay. And then waw is the ataf. Okay, all that is ar-Rahman mubtada. Akbar is khabar. Ajza'ahu is fi'l plus the fa'il. Who is the maful bihi. Inda is mudaf. Abi Hanifa is the mudaf ilayhi. Mudaf plus the mudaf ilayhi becomes mudaf ilayhi. Inda. Actually make that into ma'tuf alayhi. And waw is ataf. Muhammad is ma'tuf. Right. Qala is fi'l. And then Abu is mudaf. Yusuf is mudaf ilayhi. That becomes the fa'il of qala. La yajuzu is fi'l plus the fa'il. Now here, what you have hidden here, this is something that a lot of students don't know. You have to have here hidden fi kulli halin. Fi kulli hal. Now why do I do that for? Because after illa, you don't get an un normally. You have something there. So if you ever get after illa, un, then that basically means that there is something hidden there. So what do we hide over here? So we're going to hide, so before it we've hidden fi kulli hal, and after it we're going to hide fi hali mudaf, fi hali an yaqul. Right, so an yaqul is actually going to become the mudaf ilayhi of hal. So an is nasiba, and then that's fi'l plus fa'il, and the word Allahu Akbar is mubtada khabar, and then the word Allahu al-Akbar mubtada khabar, and the word Allahu al-Kabir mubtada khabar. All that's mubtada and khabar. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I think you guys are starting to understand this now. Okay. So now let's look at the masla now. So basically this is describing now how to pray the salat. So the Hanafi say that salat has to have 6 components in there. There are 6 components that you have to have in your salat. If you have these 6 components in your salat is done. Because you've done what is known as the faraid. Number 1 is you have to say Allahu Akbar. Yes, that's the first thing. You say Allahu Akbar. This is necessary. Any salat where you do not say Allahu Akbar at the beginning, your salat will not be done. Okay. Number 2 is you have to stand. So standing is important unless you're ill. If you're ill and you can't stand, then it drops. But for healthy people, you must stand. This is an obligation of your prayer. If you don't stand in the obligatory prayers, your salat is not done. So takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then standing in the fard prayer is necessary. Number 3 is recitation. You have to read Quran. So Quran must be recited. If you do not read Quran in your salat, even a little bit, your salat will not be done, and it's as though your salat is not done. And number 4, the 4th one is ruku, bowing down. So bowing down is necessary. You have to bow down. Okay, so bowing down, touching your knees, straightening your back. That's a very important thing. Right? For the men and for the women, it would obviously just be lowering the back slightly and trying to touch the knees. And number 5 is sajda. So prostrating, put your head on the ground and putting your feet on the ground, that is necessary. Okay, what we call prostration. And finally, the last is the sitting at the end of the prayer for the duration of the tashahhud. So what does it mean to sit for the duration of the tashahhud? I'm going to explain that to you in a bit. But these are the 6 that you need to have. So you need to have these 6 in your salat. As long as you've got these 6 in your salat will be considered to be done. And if any one of these is missing, imagine like pillars in a room. Imagine there's 6 pillars in a room, and if you remove one, the whole room will collapse. So you have to have all 6, right? And you can't have less than 6, right? Unless there is a valid reason, which we'll learn later on, inshallah, in al-Qudoori. So let's look at it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now the text. Fara'id of the salat are 6. Al-wa'adi, al-tahrima. So tahrima is when you say Allahu Akbar. By saying Allahu Akbar, you make everything else haram for you to do. Like your salat is so sanctified, so precious, and so sacred that you can't eat and drink and talk and laugh, and you can't do anything of those. So it's tahrima. So by saying Allahu Akbar, you've gone into your salat. Number 2 is qiyam. Qiyam is standing. Qira'ah, recitation of the Quran. So you have to recite Quran. How much of the Quran do you have to recite? That's going to come later on when we talk about the difference in opinion between the Hanafis. Ruku is like bowing down, right? So straightening your back as much as possible. And then sujood is putting your head on the ground, right? So putting your head on the ground is necessary. And then qa'ada al-akhira, the last sitting that you have. So in the last sitting, just before you give salam, that last sitting that you do. Now it says miqdar at-tashahhud now. What does miqdar at-tashahhud mean? So it means that you have to sit down for the amount of time it takes you to recite at-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu. Right? So at-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibatu assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Okay, so this, how long does it take to recite? Let's see how long I took to recite. Now maybe some people it might take them, let's say 2 minutes to recite. Or some people it might take them 1 minute to recite. Right, some people might take less. The point is that you sit down for that duration. You don't have to read it. Reading at-tahiyyat is not fard. It's not one of the obligatory acts. It's actually sitting down for the duration of that time. So, I mean, for me, if I was to count it now, let's just time it then. So, at-tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibatu assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Okay, it took me about 20 seconds to read that. Yeah, 20 seconds. So, for me, sitting the duration of 20 seconds is fard. Okay, وَمَا زَادَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ, and everything added to that, everything beyond this, Qudoori says it's sunnah. It's the sunnah. Right, now we're going to discuss later on what does it mean by sunnah. Does it mean that these things are not important or they're necessary, or are they established from the sunnah? Because most of these 6 fara'id are established from the Quran. All of them except for the last one. So he says, okay, so let's just put in here. So for example, like things like reading Fatiha, for example, or for example, reading extra surah, or reading the tasbihat, Subhana Rabbil Azim, Subhana Rabbil A'la, durood, salutation of the Prophet ﷺ, etc. All these things are considered to be extra, as in they're not the fard. If you miss them out, your salat will be done. Okay, but they are obviously needed for the salat to be perfect, and that's what we should aim for. So he says, وَإِذَا دَخَلَ الرَّجُلُ فِي صَلَاتِهِ, when a man enters into his salat. So when a person enters their salat, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, when they enter their salat, they kabbara wa rafa'a yadayhi ma'a takbir. So they do takbir and they raise their hands with their takbir. So this is the first thing that you have to remember. So imagine this guy. Now he raises his hands so much that his thumbs are parallel with his ears. So for example, like this. So if you can see my ears here, I don't know if you can see them or not. Yeah. So like there, you don't have to touch your ears. You just put your hands up. Your thumbs are parallel with the ears, like this. Allahu Akbar. So thumbs parallel with the ears. So not like this, because they're not parallel then. Yeah, and not like this. Yeah, so like this, parallel. So imagine there's a line there, invisible line. You just put your hands and your thumbs are parallel with the earlobes. Okay, so this is for men. This is for the men's, according to Hanafis, for the men. So he said Allahu Akbar is fard, but then raising your hands is not fard. Okay, raising your hands is not fard. If you didn't raise your hands and you just like started your salat and said Allahu Akbar, your salat would start, but you obviously would be not doing the salat in the best way, right? So it won't be that perfect. So you raise your hands. So raising of the hands, he makes them parallel bi-ibhamayhi, with his 2 thumbs, shahmata udhunayhi, the soft part of the ears, like the fat of the ears, like the fat of the ears, meaning the soft part, not fat of the ears. That's what Arabs call it. Okay, so then he says, فَإِنْ قَالَ بدل. Now this is an ikhtilaf masla. Now this is the ear. I'm trying to draw the ear. See if you guys know what I'm talking about. Just just, for someone who might think, I need a picture of it. So there you have it. Okay, so now the next masla is that there is an ikhtilaf now. Do you have to say Allahu Akbar, or can you say anything else? Abu Yusuf rahimahullah is on one side and Abu Hanifa and Imam Muhammad on the other side. In other words, when you start your salat, we know the Prophet ﷺ, when he started his salat, he would say Allahu Akbar. But is there anything else you can say? So Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, he says no, you can only say 4 things. Allahu Akbar, Allahu al-Akbar with an al, Allahu Kabir, and Allahu al-Kabir. Those 4. Right? So you can say those 4, he says. Right? Because all of them have the meaning of kabbara yukabbiru takbir, which means to say the greatness of Allah. All of these words contain Allah and contain some meaning of greatness in the kaf, ba and ra. Whereas Abu Hanifa and Muhammad say you can say anything as long as it has the meaning of saying the greatness of Allah. Right? So anything that gives the greatness of Allah, you can say that. So what kind of words can you say? So you can say things like Allahu Ajal, Allah is the most magnificent. Allahu A'zam, Allah is the greatest. Allah Ar-Rahmanu Akbar, Ar-Rahman is the biggest. So anything which has that kind of a meaning, you're allowed to say. So you can start off your salat with any of those meanings which gives the greatness of Allah. Because they say the whole purpose of takbir is not saying a specific word. It's actually saying anything which, when you say it in your mind, the greatness of Allah comes to it. Right? So that's their argument. But okay, so just to be on the safe side, we should just stick with Allahu Akbar. The scholars say, stick to Allahu Akbar. So he says, فَإِنْ قَالَ بَدَلًا, if he says as a substitute, min al-takbir, from takbir, than takbir. So instead of saying Allahu Akbar, he says Allahu Ajal, or A'zam, or Rahmanu Akbar. أجزأه عند أبي حنيفة, this would suffice him according to Abu Hanifa rahimahullah and Muhammad. قال أبو يوسف لا يجوز, not allowed, إلا أن يقول, unless the person says Allahu Akbar, or Allahu al-Akbar, and Allahu al-Kabir, and in some books it says Allahu Kabir. So here he's only mentioned 3, but other Hanafi books have mentioned 4 statements of Abu Yusuf rahimahullah. And that's it basically. That's the mas'ala, that's how we start off our salat. So all we have to remember is the obligations and the ikhtilaf between Abu Hanifa. Alright, let's look at some questions for today then. Alright, this is today's lesson, just so that you guys get a recap. Alright, so questions. List the fara'id of salat. How do you raise your hands in takbir? What words can you use for starting salah according to Abu Yusuf? And what is the position of Abu Hanifa and Muhammad rahimahullah on this? That's it, guys. Jazakumullah khair, guys. If you have any questions, anything at all, subscribe as well if you haven't subscribed. Share this video on your social networks. Share it wide and allow people to be able to benefit from these lessons. And so you get reward as well. I get reward as well, alhamdulillah. And yeah, that's it. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, guys, for all of your support. Without your support, I wouldn't have been able to produce the videos that I've put up on my YouTube channel. And there is so much more that I really want to do. And without the support of you guys who are patrons, generously supporting this channel, I've been able to get myself a camera, which, as you guys can see, the quality of this camera, a mic system, software. I've been able to hire an editor. So what do I want to do? I want to make lots and lots and lots of more videos for beginners, for intermediate, advanced, in the subjects like Arabic and Fiqh and Hadith and Tafsir and Aqidah and all those other things as well. And for this to happen, again, this channel needs support. So if you guys want to become patrons and support this channel, then check out the link below. Also, if you do become patrons, you'll have access to videos that I don't put up on my normal YouTube channel. So check that out, inshallah. And there's most other perks as well that you guys can benefit from. And if you want to access this channel through social media, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, Facebook page, and other things as well that you can visit. So Jazakumullah khair again, guys. Thank you very much for your support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for watching this video. I hope to see all of you guys. If you guys are interested, please leave us feedback, get in contact with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.